I'm going to talk about different worlds, not different planets. You know, there's a difference between a different world and a different planet. You know, I'm not from a different planet. On your planet, time is different. Nah, but a different world. You know, we all live in a different world. We know what it's like to be in a different world. Because when you were a child, that was one type of world you lived in. And then you become an adult, it's a different world. When you're at work, there's a different world as opposed to when you're at home. So what works in one world doesn't work in another. And we know that. And when you're in a different culture, a different, ethnicity, a different everything, it's just different. And sometimes, people want everybody to live in the same world. We all should live in exactly the same world. Yeah, we may be on the same planet, but we're in different worlds. We could be in the same city. We could be in the same house. It's kind of like, this is kind of like stuff I'm really learning a lot of things from William James. I read a lot of William James, and I'm thinking about this whole thing about, how we all see the world differently, and just a lot of little ideas I'm beginning to get from him and from other writers. How we live in different worlds. And you have to look at things from those different perspectives. What's true for one person may not be true for somebody else. For some people, there has to be a single truth, like science truth. Like, water is made of hydrogen and oxygen, okay? It's H2O. That's true for everybody. For all times. It was true in the past, and it'll be true in the future. The earth is round. That's true for everybody, even if you don't believe it. But, we sort of think that everything else has to work that same way, too. We can see it in little trivial type things, like, if I go to a restaurant and there's a particular meal that I don't like, for example, I don't like calamari. I think I mentioned that before. Some people love it. I know people who just love it. In their world, calamari is the king. In my world, it's nothing. I don't like it. I don't want it. Don't give it to me. If you put it there, it's just going to sit. For some people, they love spinach, and other people can't stand it. Some people love broccoli. Hey, I like broccoli, especially with cheese on it. Some people can't stand it. Because we're in different worlds. We are in different worlds. My way of thinking on YouTube, when I make my videos, when I'm talking about things, I live in a different world. That's probably why I don't get a lot of responses, because a lot of people just don't, my way of thinking or looking at the world, it just doesn't fit. Or maybe it does fit, it just most people don't feel like making a response, which is okay. And that's perfectly okay. I don't have a problem with that. I don't, now you can't make response videos anyways, so whatever, Although occasionally I do get response videos, and people will talk about something, or they'll mention. I've had two times which somebody actually mentioned me, and 3 times I should say in a video. And all the videos I've ever made, where somebody actually mentioned my videos, or mentioned something about me. Yes, I'm an egotistical person. I want to be promoted. So that's just that's okay too. I actually would like to be famous, but I'm sure that once it happens, I'm probably going to say, oh God, why did I want that? Be careful what you ask for, type thing. But I'm content with what I have. Yes, I am content. I'm happy. I'm just talking. There's no particular point to what I'm saying, but I'm just thinking about things. But one thing that always is on my mind is happiness. I'm always thinking about happiness, and I'm always thinking about a lot of other things too. I could talk about so many things, but let's talk about happiness for a moment. One thing I realized is that happiness is not endless, infinite joy every single second of every moment of every day. It's not just one continuous, orgasmic experience every moment. No, it can't be. It's impossible. You couldn't survive such a thing. But you know what? It's just being able to enjoy little things like a nice cup of coffee, or taking a walk, which in a little while I'm going to take Missy out for a walk. That's what happiness is to me. to be able to read my favorite books, and to be relatively healthy as I can be. I'm not perfectly healthy, but I'm healthy enough. And I'm sure that even when things get worse, I'm always going to have an optimistic attitude and say, well, it could be worse, you know. We all like to play that little game of, you know, doing that, or at least the optimists do. Pessimists always say, it could be better. You know, you give them $1 million and they'll say, well, it could be better. You could have gave me $2 million. You know, the optimist will say, well, you gave me $1 million. Wow, I'm happy to have $1 million. Could be worse. I could have nothing. You know, so. But it's all a matter of different worlds, not different planets. That's all I had to say.